In a world where a dead guy has a thing for dead creatures, can he find love, or is he just pissing into the wind? Today on the Geekasaurus, the Necromancer. Hello and welcome back to our next exciting installment of Guild Wars 2 beta coverage. Just talking about the professions still, and we're going to cover the Necromancer today. For those not familiar with what a Necromancer is, or what it is in an MMO, it's generally a class that is very similar to what would be a mage or a wizard, in that they cast spells. Their specific school of focus, however, is not on fire or ice or anything like that. It is on dead things, dead creatures, that kind of stuff. Quite often, at least in most MMOs, Necromancer also is considered a pet class. It's a class of caster that has a pet that follows them around and does their bidding. In this game, it's very similar to that. It's actually that exactly. Profession is actually a life-stealing pet, at least the one they start out with. Later on they get other ones, but for now let's just say it steals life from the creatures you're fighting, and then it transfers that life to you, which is a very Necromancer type of thing. I shouldn't be trying to equip weapons when I'm getting beat up. Unlike other games, there is a feature in this where you can turn into a Lich form. And from what I saw, and I'm not 100% sure on this, I don't have official beta data, I love saying that, on what this does, but as far as I can tell, when you're in Lich form, you get an extra set of 4 abilities, and while you're in that form, you're invincible, as far as I can tell. What I mean by that is, you get beat up and your life does drop in there, but it's the life of the Lich form and not necessarily your own health, which is pretty cool, because if you're getting beat up really badly and you go into Lich form, you then have a whole new health bar. Now your main health on the outside doesn't seem to go up. It might. I'm not 100% sure that when you're fighting, the abilities you're using, if it's actually healing you by stealing life from somebody else. I didn't really see that, but your health is slowly ticking up on the outside while you're in the Lich form. Now, in any other MMO that I've played, I've always played a Necro of some kind. Whether it was called a Necromancer or whatever their name was, I've always played a class that did life stealing. I just thought it's kind of a cool feature that you can take life away from another creature, player, whatever, put it to your own life, and then use that to your benefit. Unlike a mage, where you set stuff on fire, you're not doing that in this. You're stealing the life out of something else, which I thought was always kind of cool. Subsequently, this is the class I was not going to play very much because I didn't want to ruin it for myself, because I will be playing a Necromancer in release. But I ended up playing a little bit, and then my wife started playing and she wanted to jump right in, so she started making a character at the same time that I made my Necromancer. So this is the character that I actually played in party with her, and so when I do my video on parties, I'll be using this character. Also, we tried out PvP, and I tried it with this character. PvP on a Necro, the reason I went through this whole little explanation is that the Lich form to me seems a bit unbalanced. Here's why. If you're going in and you're taking a keep, and you are successful, and you take the keep, everything's cool, right? Got the keep, you're fine. Now, somebody comes in with a group of people, say 20 people come in. They cannot officially take the keep, no matter how many of them are there, while you're standing there alive. They have to kill you so that you can be dead, and they can now take the keep. Well, with a Necromancer, if you are playing defense, and you're in that keep, they take you down. You're within a sliver of life, and they're about ready to kill you, and you've been running around and jumping and bopping around and all that. And they get you to a sliver, and now you have Lich form. You click Lich form, and now they have to take you down again. And now by the time they get you through Lich, and your main health will probably be gone too, so you'll die right after you get out of Lich form, But the point is now they've had to take down your character twice, and you have had plenty of time to call out to your allies, hey, they're taking keep, you know, XYZ, whatever. That's why I think it's a bit unbalanced in PvP, and maybe they're going to change it, I don't know. Maybe that's kind of one of the things. Maybe Necros are the ultimate keep defense profession to play. Alright, so let's go into what I thought of the Necro class as a whole in beta. Whenever you play a Necro, I think in every game I played them in, they're going to be kind of a weak class as far as they don't really usually have very much health, and they aren't really strong, they don't really have much armor because they're taking the life away from other characters or other monsters that you're playing against, right? So their health pool seems to be a bit smaller, and they just seem to go down kind of quick. The same thing I could say is in this game. The reason for it is it, I think, helps balance it out. But because of the Lich form, which you can then change into and do more damage, I felt a bit more powerful than I felt with other classes or professions I played in this. So I could say that for now, in beta, the way it stands, the Necro is probably one of the more powerful classes, at least in staying alive, the damage that they do, their survivability, all of that seems to be really tweaked to a high level. Not saying that in release it's going to be this way, but for now, the way it was in beta for this last beta weekend, I was pretty impressed, and I felt very comfortable going in and taking out 3 or 4 mobs at a time. Whereas in other professions that I played, I wouldn't dare do something like that unless I had a group around me. So let's discuss the weapons that a Necromancer uses. Now remember, as with all of the Guild Wars 2 professions, what they carry indicates what spells they're going to use. Those weapons are key to the type of combat you're going to do, whether it be close range or whatever. So, main hand, they get an axe, a dagger, and a scepter. Offhand, they get a dagger and a focus, and a warhorn, and two-handed, they get a staff. So as you can see, it's very, very close to the Elementalist, except the addition of a warhorn in the offhand and an axe in the main hand. I was kind of hoping to get a scythe, whatever I want to pronounce it, you know, because Necros are so in line with death. I thought it'd be cool kind of having a scythe, but I think the staff, the two-handed staff, actually turns into a scythe later on. Like one of the two-handed staffs you can get is a scythe. I don't know. Whatever. Let's move. So the Necro does have some pretty good AoE. There's some AoE spells that I used, and their point-to-point damage is pretty awesome, I think. As with other Guild Wars professions, it was super easy to get into. It was easy to understand. You didn't have to like know a ton about necromancy to figure it out. In regular combat, it was just super smooth, and it felt like I was just some sort of, I don't know, evil mage that was doing lots of cool effects. As of right now, the particle effects are a little over the top. Not as bad as I think they were in earlier betas, like the press beta I wasn't part of, but it's still pretty crazy. So when you have a Necromancer, an Elementalist, and you know, some other kind of big bunch of people in your group throwing off all these spells, it gets just nuts. But you can always tell the Necromancer spells because they're kind of this really cool dark green, and my whole thing is I love the color green. If you saw the intro to my videos here and all the other effects that I've got going on, I dig the color green, and I love the way it looks in this game because it's sort of the main color of the Necromancer. Whenever you see spells going off, that's a Necro, because you can see it's dark and it's twisted and all that. So like I was saying, I think they're a very balanced class. I don't see them having to tweak them too much before release, so what you're seeing now is kind of what you're going to get as far as the spells they use, the animations, and all of that. Just like with the Elementalist and just like with the other professions, you have to keep moving. You can stand still, but it's not to your best interest, because the more you move around in this game, I think the safer you'll be. which lends itself to some issues that we'll talk about during my PvP videos that I'm going to make. Because if you have a controller like the Razer Nostromo, which is a PC peripheral, and you have the ability to move your fingers around the little thumb controller and then be whacking on your spell keys, you can move and fire with that thing amazingly easily. It's way better than WASD, okay? So because of that, strafing, circle strafing, it's a bit overpowered because people can't really hit you that well. And you're like, that's a problem. I'm going to be able to fight just keeping myself in a moving pattern and people won't be able to hit me. So, we'll see how it goes. It might be that's what everybody does in this game. You just run around in circles and hit each other. I hope not. I hope that that kind of mechanic gets tweaked a bit more, but we'll see. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it for the overview of the Necro. I'm not going to do a 3-part series again. One of the issues is YouTube has got this new algorithm for AdSense, and videos that were previously enabled with ads are now not, and ones that were are now not enabled or not able to be enabled for ads. I don't know. It's really screwed up. So I'm just going to do one video for each profession. Having 3 was a bit of an overkill for an elementalist. I did cover that quite intensively, and I did have a ton of video for that, so I guess it was sort of warranted. Anyway, let's move on. I think my next video will be on the Guardian, which was pretty fun, and taking tips from some of the other videos I saw before I played, I got a big old hammer, and I used it quite effectively. Alright, thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe to my videos. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. And if you have any suggestions for videos you'd like to see in the future, please leave them in the comments below. Also down there you will find my link for Twitter and my link for Facebook and my main Geekasaurus gaming website. It's all down there, so check it out if you get a chance. I love you guys. See ya!